welcome to another episode of the Ironiq Radio Podcast, episode 130.
130.
Man, did think that we started when... Who knew we were going to get this far?
Well, duh.
Here we are. And we're coming up on our 5th anniversary in a
that's right.
couple of months. That's pretty amazing. And then episode 150, that's kind of a milestone. So
It's
some big stuff coming up. Yes, 2019, a milestone year. It's the future, man.
Would that be around June? That'd be around June, probably July.
150, probably June or July.
Yeah.
Well, the 5th anniversary show will be like the first week of May, or 5th anniversary show. So,
hello.
And
Hello.
Long is saying hello.
Hello.
I remember the
I'm
cartoons.
trying not to break that streak.
I know you. I mean, it's 5 episodes in a row. We made it official last week.
Yeah.
And it's more official now because you don't want to break the streak.
You want to hear what else is official?
What?
I finally got a water heater.
Really?
Oh, shit.
There we go.
Yeah, that first night of
still
showering, I was like crying.
Nice.
Crying and scrubbing and happy. Yeah. I'll never take...
I noticed there was less smell in the room today.
Yeah, excuse me, but that was my musk. That was my pheromones.
Man,
Your
must.
pheromones. That is my scent.
Yeah. Little science fact, when you sweat, it oxidizes, and that's why it stinks.
Science, bitch.
Yeah. You know how fruit oxidizes in air, it becomes weird looking. Yeah.
I'm just, every time you say oxy anything, I'm just waiting for you to be like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah. So, yeah, I finally got a water heater and did all my chores today and didn't have time to shower, so I'm going to use that to my advantage when I get home.
So you're taking
you
a little time off. You're off a whole week from work or just a few days? Or
yeah, 5 days straight.
So there you go. So
Yeah.
you will
That's
hot
nice.
water shower a lot.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. Be like, I'm going to
Yeah.
take the time to...
Yeah, fun fact. I mean, my first day of vacation was my birthday, official birthday, but and then my younger brother's is today,
Oh, man.
Okay.
and my party is Sunday. One of my best friends is tomorrow's.
A lot of
Yeah.
birthdays around this time.
Party and your wife's birthday was a couple days ago,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, right.
Hers
The
is
day
the
before
23rd.
Long's. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
wished her happy birthday, but she didn't say anything to me.
I saw
Like,
that. I saw
who the
that
heck is
today. I was gonna like it and be like, "Hey,
I think I forgot to tell her. I'm sorry.
Ah,
I'll
that's
text
all
her.
right.
I'll text her like, Jackie, forgive me.
happy belated."
Yeah,
And Facebook, it's like it became the thing. Like you got to tell people happy birthday. But as the years go by, I'm like,
that's the only we use for Facebook.
yeah. As
Yeah.
the years go by, I'm kind of like, do I really need to tell them happy birthday every year on Facebook?
I like the attention.
Yeah, you do.
That's the only time anyone ever says anything to me on Facebook.
You're like, I look forward to saying thank you for all the birthday wishes. And
Yes. Yeah, I said that today actually,
I saw
Yeah.
that.
and I said, "Funny, I don't feel like 40." Yeah.
No.
You're like, I feel like 35 with 5 years of experience.
I feel like 20 actually.
20?
Yeah.
20 with 20 years of experience?
Yeah. No.
No.
With 40 years experience.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like a fine wine. You age well.
Yeah, I bought some wine today too.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Shit.
There you go.
Yeah. So.
Other than that, it's kind of a short week. We just recorded the other day, and we're recording a little bit early because of birthday plans, and we've got a concert to attend Monday nights. But
Yes.
that's okay. So, but
Disturbed.
otherwise, it
Just you going?
Me, Mark, and Frank.
Oh,
So,
okay, cool.
and we're going to get our new metal on and relive some of that youth. I mean,
I'm just a little worried because, okay, so the way you get it, like I'm used to Groupon having I don't know if everyone's used to the G passes, where you just basically on the day of you show up and you present your passes, and
like
they just
going to
scan
the movies,
them.
they use a little code. Yeah.
Where's,
And then they're like, okay, come on in.
where's the concert?
It's at Toyota Center.
Oh, okay.
So this is
That's not too bad.
this is fulfilled by Flash Seats, which I'm not familiar with, and they're like, oh, you should get your tickets by the day of.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so it's yesterday, and I'm like, well, the concert's Monday, so I'm like talking to customer service, hey, this is coming in, right? Like, yeah, they have until Monday. You should get it then. And I'm like, I don't like that, but okay.
I mean, you know what? If we go to Toyota Center and they don't have them and you failed us, you're taking us to a strip club.
Probably.
Okay? That's all, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's just a random thing. I haven't gone to one of those like in years. But, you know.
I'm kind of tempted to go to the WWE pay-per-view event next month for Elimination Chamber.
Toyota Center?
Yeah.
Yep. I saw that.
Yeah, they're doing the 6-woman Elimination Chamber match for the first ever, not first ever, but
sounds like me in my 20s.
First tag team match.
You wish.
What are you talking about?
6 women elimination match.
Oh, okay.
Perv.
All right.
I felt like I had, you set me up for a punchline there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's good.
Also, we should respect all women. They are not things.
Oh, yeah.
Rebel Radio does not condone the, objectification of
What
women.
if the opportunity arose?
Yeah, something arose.
Hook, line, and sinker, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that I was kind of thinking about doing it, but I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
Yeah.
I bet Frank's going to try and go to that.
So,
Reach out to Frank.
okay, so the Super Bowl, we're having the Rams versus the Patriots, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is what, the second time they're doing it?
Yep.
Yeah, but it was a completely different Patriots team. When I ran both teams, were only really consistent as Brady and Belichick.
Yeah.
Back when the Rams and Patriots played each other years ago, it was
Who won that time?
that was
Patriots.
Hmm.
That was a year. Did the Rams go back to back
They
where
kept-
they beat the Titans the year before, and then they?
Yeah, and
played-
they came back, and you thought you were going to see the beginning of a dynasty with Kurt Warner and Marshall
That's
Faulk.
right. That was Kurt Warner.
And they
That's
kept
right.
just feeding the ball to Marshall Faulk, and then dink and dunk, when really that offense, you should have been throwing it downfield all the time. Probably would have been more successful. But this time you have a Rams team that essentially has the same running game. I think it's fair to say Todd Gurley's a young Marshall Faulk. I think he's a lot.
no.
I think he is a lot like Marshall Faulk. I think he's a really good runner. But I do not think Jared Goff is Kurt Warner. That's to be proven. Kurt Warner will always be Kurt Warner.
Who's the QB for Rams?
Jared Goff.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right.
Who again?
It's not Phillip
Exactly.
Rivers?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, is it Phillip Rivers?
Yeah.
Like, no.
That's a long time ago, yeah.
It's not the modern day Dan Marino. I guess
No.
maybe
I don't know.
So, who do y'all pick?
Patriots.
Patriots?
Yeah. Darth Brady is going to come in. And,
You shared that video.
yeah,
huh?
that was freaking awesome.
Did you see that video?
Yeah.
Freaking, and then the last shot of choking Andy Reid. I
And
was like,
throwing him
come
against the
on.
wall.
That time wasn't Andy Reid's fault.
He's
really.
the GOAT, man.
Yeah.
He really is. It's hard to argue anymore.
It really depends who has the best coaching tree.
Yeah.
You know, which is it? Who Belichick or Reid? Which one had the better proteges coming out from that system?
Yeah.
And I think Reid had more successful coaches under his wing, versus
Yeah.
Belichick.
He's had a lot of really good coordinators develop under him. I will say that Marty Morningwig, he's still had jobs in the NFL a lot, and the only reason I remember him is because he's Kevin. He was Kevin Cobb's offensive coordinator. Cobb was actually good whenever he had Morty Wig.
Yeah.
I felt like he was in a bad system. To me, Foles is just Kevin Cobb 2.0. That's it.
Homer.
I think Cobb should just stayed as a backup with the Eagles, but then they put him in that situation in Arizona where they thought he was going to be Kurt Warner, and he's not Kurt Warner.
So when did we become a sports podcast?
Whenever we started reporting the news,
It's a Super Bowl. So,
yeah, yeah,
I was just wondering. We're talking the Kurt Warner years. That was years ago.
that's true. It's true.
2019 now.
Yeah.
I'm super casual on football, so
Yeah. I had moments where
Compared
I'll
to
watch
y'all.
it. Yeah. Even I
Compared
haven't
to
been as hardcore the last couple of years. I've kind of backed off on it, so but that's okay. Baseball starts soon.
There you go.
But man, did you see? This actually was in the news last week, and I didn't talk about it. We talked about the internet being enraged last week, but in Florida, Florida seems to be like the state where crazy things happen.
Yeah.
It's always on the news, on the radio, and things like that. And this guy must have been watching a lot of Walking Dead because he had his neighbors went to check on him because they were hearing a lot of noise from the house, wondering what was going on. So he decides he was going to kill them with kindness. and it's not what you think. He chased them with his machete, and the machete, he had the words kindness written on it. That's what he named his machete. I can't help but think this guy must have been sitting around watching The Walking Dead and how Negan names his bat Lucille.
Yeah.
And he's like this old Florida redneck. I'm going to name my machete kindness. And he swung it at the guys and hit one of them in the arm. Didn't cut an arm off or anything. It just made like a little cut. So he's now facing $10,000 in illegal weapons fines and jail time because he killed them with kindness, but didn't really kill them.
He attempted to kill them with
attempted
kindness.
murder.
Yeah. I guess they weren't. I guess the guys decided they weren't going to press
assault
attempted
with a
murder
deadly
charges.
weapon.
Yeah, because they felt that the guy had problems and they were just trying to help. So he's facing weapon charges and stuff like that. But it doesn't seem like they're going to charge him with attempted murder. But only in Florida, would you have this happen?
America's wing.
I just felt like that was a pretty humorous story, and I gave it a pop culture spin, the Walking Dead reference, after last week's Gillette shaving enragement.
Yes.
I don't think anything was enraged this
America's abnormal growth.
week. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody was enraged this week other than the government. It looks like the government's going to be back at work Monday.
Yes,
so,
for at least 3 weeks. Is
Yeah.
that it? 3 weeks? Yeah. So file your taxes ASAP.
Yeah.
File them.
So, oh well. All right. Let's get into today's show, unless anybody's got
All right,
anything
we're
else.
going to a political pot. No, I'm joking.
But we always start the show with Download This, which is where we, of course, tell people what we streamed, watched, checked out, played this week, consumed into our brains for historical references for later on. I don't know. And so what did you guys watch this week? And did you get a chance to watch anything in the short week?
Just Beetlejuice.
Just Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
I was
You slacker. No, I'm just kidding.
I was skimming through the free movies on Netflix, and I saw two that I love horror movies, even B horror
Don't
movies.
you pay for Netflix already? So how's it free?
Voodoo. I'm sorry.
The Voodoo free movies?
Voodoo. Yeah. And one movie was Valentine that came out in 2000, which our friend Iris, she was like, "Y'all are gonna do Titanic for Valentine's Day," and I was like, "No, we're doing Valentine. I'm gonna talk to Mark. We're gonna do Valentine." And she's like,
It's probably going to be
"No."
disappointing because we're not doing either. But
Yeah, and I'm like, I was like, you talk down about Valentine, but you don't realize that it had Katherine Heigl. I was like, it had Denise Richards, David Boreanaz. It had a couple actors that were on Grey's Anatomy for a little bit.
a bunch of leftover actors from the 90s, basically.
Yeah, it's like leftover 90s actors. And then you had the guy. Did you ever see The Ugly Truth with Katherine Heigl? It's actually, I know it's a chick flick, but it's actually a funny chick flick. Jake Garrard is
Whatever you
freaking
say,
hilarious.
whatever
in
Jackie
there.
makes you watch, you can admit to.
Well, there's this one character in there, and he's like, he doesn't have much screen time. His name's Jack Magnum. He's Gerard's replacement, and he's like, I've
that sounds
personally,
like a poor name.
basically,
Jack Magnum.
he's like, I've personally had sex with over 50 women, most of them still conscious. And he's like, and they're like, no. They're like, don't say that on TV. And I was like, and he shows up on this film as a creepy guy. I'm like, holy crap, it's Jack Magnum. But yeah.
That sounds like time well spent, Matt.
Yes. So I saw this movie. It was pretty good. And it's basically like Carrie, kind of. It's Carrie mixed with I forget which film that was. With the original Prom Night. It's like Carrie mixed with the original Prom Night. Some kid gets beat up. He comes back and he kills the people that beat him up. Coincidentally, they dump like some kind of red liquid on him at the prom, and I'm like, this is kind of like. So you're like, okay, we're gonna take this horror movie, we're gonna combine it with this one, and we're gonna see how it works. It's weird. But that was actually not bad. It's like 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So, they don't think too highly of it.
It doesn't.
But
yeah.
it's, you know what? It plays at a 40% tomato meter rating. Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I watched Jennifer, which is another B horror movie from Masters of Horror. And it's about this, this chick gets nude in it a lot.
I mean, I remember Jennifer's Body with Megan Fox, which was horrible. But
Yeah. This one, it's horrible because it's got a bunch of no-name actors or character actors, and so basically this girl has this twisted looking face, but she always wants to be naked, but she's like cannibalistic towards animals and stuff.
So did Beetlejuice, which has some B movie mentalities, make you just want to watch B movies?
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to watch B movies this week. So yeah, if you got time and you got voodoo, watch these movies, man. You won't be disappointed. Jennifer and then Valentine.
Well, I hope what I watched was a little bit better content.
Hopefully.
One thing I watched, it has really nothing to do with the genres we kind of cover, but I was curious about it. I watched the documentary on the Fire Festival.
Okay.
I heard about
man,
that.
Billy McFarland is a piece of shit.
Oh, is that the one where they hyped up everything?
Yes, he's the guy, the entrepreneur who created Fire. And he goes on, and the Netflix documentary it's only an hour and a half, so he builds this festival to invite these people to this island for this big rock concert. A bunch of bands are going to come, and elite models and elite celebrities and all this, and they shoot this video like 2 years before, and they put it on Instagram. They use what they call influencers, all these supermodels and stuff that can influence social media to hype it all up. And the tickets are like $6,000 per person, but they fly them in elite hotels and all this. And the whole thing turns out that they don't have housing. They're putting people in tents. They cancel the food a week before the show, take the food budget from $3 million to $1 million.
Yeah.
They have no water on the island, no bathrooms set up with 3 or 4 days before the show. He tells his assistant, who's gay, that you need to go blow the customs agent to get the water across. And he even talks about, I was fully prepared to do it if that's what it took to get the water across the island. At the end of the day, they get it. Some of the kids show up that Friday night. They make them wait outside for hours because they have nowhere to put them. They find out that there's no fancy Vias like they were selling on the website that looked like, what a Via would look like.
Yeah.
And so the kids, they kind of played all, okay, I guess we have tents, but everything's wet from the storm the night before. Mm-hmm. And so the whole thing ends up getting canceled. And then when it comes to light, and not only before it all happens, everyone that worked for him said, you need to cancel this. You need to postpone it. But he chose not to listen to anyone. He kept on just pushing. No, we're going to do it. We're going to do this. This is the biggest party ever. And he's one of those people that people believed in him because he was charismatic and charming, and people really believed in what he was trying to build in his businesses and everything. And he started his business by like an elite credit card for New York City millennials and stuff. So then it comes to find out once the festival's canceled, they start investigating the FBI for fraud and everything else. So he's facing charges of fraudulent activity. Turns out he never had any money at all. He faked it all. He said that he had all these investors, and he talked these investors into lending him this money that he was going to pay back. And because he made it look like he was worth millions, he was worth like $60,000
Wow.
at the end of the day. And then when he gets out on bail, he starts another scam while he's out on bail waiting trial to try to continue to scam people out of more money, and was sending emails out to everyone that had signed up for Fire Festival. And he is now in federal prison now. His trial ended just pretty recently, because this happened in 2017.
That's crazy.
But this guy was just an absolute piece of crap. He's a sociopath of a different kind. He's not the kind of sociopath.
So he's a con artist?
Yeah.
Basically.
He's not a sociopath that's going to murder people. He's going to con people and yeah. And it's like, wow, it's an interesting watch for something that's modernly relevant right now. And then I did watch the first episode of the new season of The Punisher.
How was it so far?
The first episode was really good. I've heard that it's very much like the first season, that it starts out strong, slows down in the middle, to get strong at the end. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure I'll continue it. And I think that's been the problem with a lot of the Netflix Marvel shows is 13 episodes sometimes is too long. Sometimes 8 to 10 is a little bit better. Because otherwise you end up with 2
or 6.
Yeah.
Or 6.
People complained about The Defenders not being very good, but I kind of liked it because it was only 8 episodes.
There's only like one good episode in the whole thing. Huh?
Well, whenever they team up.
Well, I thought the last 3, the first 5 Defenders episodes were a little slow.
Yeah.
But sometimes 13 is too strong. Even though I do feel Daredevil, all 39 episodes of Daredevil, I felt were all pretty strong.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me, like 2 seasons ago of Arrow. Like the season was so bad because it was just full of flashbacks.
Yeah.
And then the subreddit for Arrow got so mad at the way the season ran and ended, they changed the subreddit from Arrow to Daredevil as a protest, and
Right.
the writers acknowledge, okay, we're sorry, we wasted your time. We'll do better next season.
And that's a problem
Yeah.
with network TV. Like, I really liked the first 3 seasons of The Flash. It was really good.
Yeah.
But they kind of blew their wad so early because they did so much in the first 3 seasons that you got to the 4th season, it was a lot of filler. It got boring. It got to be the same old stuff. And they had these really great story ideas, but they seemed to use them all in the first 3 years of the show.
Yeah.
And that's the problem when you're doing 24 episodes as opposed to 10 to 12. You can tighten it up more. But, network TV, I think, is going to come a time where that it becomes a thing of the past.
Looking forward to Batwoman.
That could be interesting. The CW stuff, you either love it or you hate it, but some of it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like it.
The first couple of seasons of Arrow are really good.
Yeah, it was enough for me to try and squeeze into an Arrow cosplay one year.
I think my biggest problem with Arrow is that it wants so badly to be a Batman show, and it's not. I mean, they went as far as even having Ra's al Ghul in Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like,
How can we make this more like Batman?
yeah.
Ra's
Because essentially Oliver Queen is Bruce Wayne, only he has arrows instead of bats.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
It's true.
Yeah.
But fun shows. Hey, again, we've said this before. I just keep giving me the comic book content. I'm fine with it. If it's done on the CW and you're getting those characters on screen, just keep doing it. The more the better. I've lived this stuff my whole life, enjoying comic books and comic book films and television shows, and just you can feed it to me all day. I'm fine with it because our dreams come true. Because we were kids, we always wanted shows like this, and we never had it. Now we got them. Doesn't mean you have to watch them all. That doesn't mean they're all going to be good, but enjoy it while they're there because it could be that we have nothing.
That's true.
We
You
could
never
just
know
still be
how long it'll be popular.
Yeah,
and
we could
worthy.
still be just reading our comics and wishing we had that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did get the new Super Mario Brothers Deluxe U on the Switch. So I played about 10 minutes of it.
So is it like
It's a side scroller.
it's like classic Mario?
yeah, it's 2D. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because
It's fun.
yeah,
So,
because we've only had our Switch for a little while, so I've hardly really played it because it's Mary's thing. So but eventually I'll sit down and play it. I've been watching her play Zelda some. That's really cool.
yeah, looks
Looks
I,
really neat.
well,
Ocarina of Time?
no,
No,
it's Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, when it came out, I was like, I wonder what kind of reviews it's getting. 10, 10, 10, 10,
Yeah.
10. Masterpiece. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I watched her play that. Played a little Super Smash Brothers and a little bit of Mario Kart. So I played it some, just not a lot since we got it. We've only had it about a month now. I haven't played it a whole lot. So, but it's fun.
I want to
Yeah.
buy Jump Force pretty soon. Whenever I get my income tax, buying Jump Force.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a crossover fighting game with all the big mega anime series
Oh.
like Dragon Ball versus Naruto versus
Versus Yu Yu Hakusho.
yeah.
Yeah,
Next
dude.
game I'm buying is Red Dead 2.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That's what I want.
Yeah, get ready to spend 15 minutes milking a cow.
It's okay. If it looks good, hey.
Yeah. No,
But,
it's a good looking game.
oh yeah. All right. Are we ready for today's featured film?
Yes.
sir.
88? Yes.
Yes, sir.
88, yes. It
88.
says here it's because he did this right before he did Batman. But we were talking Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, which is was Long's guilty pleasure pick for his birthday week here, and
There you go. Possession.
and Long, why did you pick this movie, man? Because this was kind of your pick, and
Well,
I
yeah.
went with it,
Yeah, it's I figured I haven't seen that movie in ages, probably at least 10 years. I've actually sat down and watched it from beginning to end, and I remember as a kid I was watching it and I didn't understand what was going on. And then I watched it again with 10 years more of life experience, and I'm like, I still don't understand what's going on in this movie. And that's just a recent viewing, which is a couple days ago.
It's a little wacky, a little bizarre.
Yeah, it's very very zany and quirky.
Sorry, I accidentally spit something out.
You just say hot loogies, man.
Jeez, I didn't realize.
Man,
Sorry.
you should probably check your air filter at your house.
Yeah.
Because, those can cause tons of airborne pathogens.
No, my air filter at my home is clean. I hadn't coughed all day.
you sure?
Yes.
When's the last time you changed it? Because I can take a look at it. Just
I'm going to slap you upside the head. I actually changed him.
He's actually like dogging both of us at the same time.
I know.
So
two birds with one stone.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I changed him. And besides, there's nothing on. There's no AC running anyway.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
nothing on right now.
I felt like that was opportunity. You know, it's like seeing someone with an Apple earbud in and saying, "Hey, you kind of look like Ben Stiller."
Don't make me get the bioexorcist on you.
Oh yeah, don't say the 3 words. Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. No, I was reading up on it, and Tim Burton was in the middle of developing Batman.
Yeah, he had started writing it already.
Yeah, and he needed a project to shoot in order to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So he said all the scripts that he got at the time, like he had 5 different scripts, and they all sucked and they were all boring. And then David Geffen, the executive producer of the movie, was like, "Hey, I got this script. Why don't you take a read?" And Tim Burton's like, "Hey, this is right up my alley."
Yeah.
So he read up on it, and he said, "Hey, that was pretty good."
Yeah.
So
Because he had only done Pee-wee's Playhouse or Big Adventure?
Big Adventure.
Before this. And it was kind of a bigger hit than expected. And he...
Oh, sorry.
I'm not a Pee-wee fan. I'm going to slap you. And,
Why aren't you a Pee Wee fan?
because he's creased me out ever since his
Maybe
whole...
you should reconsider.
When I was a kid, maybe, but now it's like I look at him now and I just can't help but think like pedophile kind of creepy.
No,
he's a little weird.
He just spanked it in front of kids.
the Netflix movie wasn't too bad.
And but anyway,
Yeah, anyway.
But so Tim Burton had done that, and he became the hot hand. And like you said, he got given a bunch of scripts, and Warner Brothers had asked him to start developing a Batman film at the time, so he's already starting to write it. But like you said, he knew Batman was still going to be about a year away till production, so he needed something to do.
Yeah.
And he came up with this. Well, this script came in his hands, which is very unlike Tim Burton, because a lot of his movies he has written himself, but mostly after this he started writing his own films. And so he did this movie, and it's very low budget. He was like, in the script called for a lot of special effects. And he was like, "How am I going to pull this off?" And he kind of purposely gave the special effects kind of a B movie look, kind of old school stop motion animation. And in some ways, the studio really didn't like that, but it's what he had to work with. And they weren't real happy with the film he initially turned in, but once it tested well with audiences, the studio's like, okay, well, I guess people like it, because they were like expecting, I think, a little more of a horror film. And in the original script, the film was very more horror filled.
Yeah,
Beetlejuice was a demon that was like
He was a
eating
rapist,
people
yeah.
and killing and raping. And they developed it into a comedy as Tim Burton, his writers, got a hold of the script and they rewrote it and made it more comedic.
This was when Michael Keaton was Tim Burton's man. Had this been 3 years later?
Well, this was his first movie.
Might have been Johnny Depp.
First collaboration.
Yeah, this was the first movie, though, he did with Tim Burton.
Yeah. But going forward after that, it's like he had Batman Returns.
That's it.
Yeah, but hey, man,
They haven't worked together since.
Yeah, I don't think they've worked together since. Yeah.
Yeah, man, but 7 years, if this was made
Johnny
7
Depp
years
became
later,
more of his man.
Johnny Depp probably would have been Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but that's not. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
But it's not 10 years later.
I'm just saying.
That doesn't make sense.
That's like
Wasn't Johnny
90s.
Depp still like?
He was still doing 21 Jump Street at this time.
Yeah.
I don't think he had jumped, because Edward Scissorhands was his first
That's true.
big movie.
Benny and June,
Scissorhands.
actually.
Oh yeah, he done Benny and June.
Yeah, Benny and June, then Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Then Ed Wood. Ed Wood was the first big collaboration they did together. Oh no!
Well, they did
second.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, second collaboration.
But and what's funny is Michael Keaton is only in this movie for like 17 minutes.
I thought it was 25. Something like that.
It's like 17 and a half minutes officially. And which is strange, because he's the title character of the film, and you don't even see him. You don't see him till 25 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Baldwin
what
looks
it is.
so young.
And Adam Baldwin. Adam Baldwin though is funny. He hates
Alec.
Alec Baldwin.
One of the
Alec
Baldwins.
Baldwin.
Yeah, he hates.
Adam is the doofy one.
The doofy one.
He hates this film, which is strange. And Michael Keaton finds it to be one of his favorite films he's ever made.
Yeah.
So
That's arguably his best performance.
Well, yeah, and watching it over,
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin was his character was kind of bland throughout the whole movie, huh?
he's not given a lot to do. It's more Gina Davis's part. She's the boss of it. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to be Ghost, and and she does more of the leading in the movie.
Yeah.
He's not given a whole lot to do other than like stand here, cut off your head here, move here. Yeah, I know you're right. You know, so it's more of her film, and it's more about Winona Ryder and her family and the characters that come into it. And it's funny. It's a ghost story, and you're introduced to these characters between Alec and Gina Davis characters at the beginning of the movie, and they're killed. and then they realize they're dead, and these people move in their house. And then the movie kind of becomes more about the family. And then the movie becomes about Beetlejuice. It's almost like 3 different little stories that are all blended together in this movie, which Tim Burton has done before in his films. He'll have a lot going on, and then the stories all kind of come together. And that's kind of how I felt about this. And rewatching it, this didn't hold up as well for me as some of the other older movies we've done. Mm-hmm. This one I've just felt like it's awkwardly paced. Like, it's so quickly edited. The movie never has time to breathe. It just goes from scene to scene to scene.
At least it was short because of it.
Yeah, it's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And I know the special effects were low budget, but even for 1988 standards, they're pretty horrible. And that's hard to watch, because I can watch Clash of the Titans, an old Ray Harryhausen movie, or the old Sinbad movies, and I accept that those special effects are stop motion animation, and that's the way they were designed. But they're the 1970s and early 80s, and you watch this, and it's just like, it's kind of cringy at times. The effects are pretty awful in parts, but there's a couple parts they look really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the makeup now, I'll give makeup effects credit. The makeup effects are really good. In fact, it won an Oscar for best makeup.
Yeah.
So I will give it credit on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Oscar is an Academy Award.
It's an Academy Award, not an Oscar.
That's what they call the award.
The Oscar is a nickname for the Academy Award. Yeah. I think so, yeah.
But arguably, we were saying Michael Keaton is very good in this. He does steal the scene in the scenes he's in, and he's really funny. And he makes the movie what it is. And I think that's when I was watching it again the other day. I was like, man, I want more of him. And I never realized how much he's not in the movie.
Yeah.
But yet he's who you want to see, because you don't find anyone else in the movie that interesting. The family moves in are all douchebags. Even Winona Ryder's character, Lydia, she's a little bitch that you just like.
Well, she's gothy.
Yeah, she's kind of gothy, but she's kind of like, depressing and kind of moody.
Her mom was a douche.
Yeah.
So what about the flamboyant,
what's his name?
Jeffrey Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey Jones.
No,
about the father?
No, Jeffrey Jones is the
No.
father. The flamboyant decorator. Ortho, yeah.
Ortho? I don't know the actor's name.
I can't think of his name either. I know he's passed on. I know that. But,
semi-interesting.
Dick Cavett was in this.
Yeah.
Former talk show host.
It's got a lot of character actors.
Robert Goulet was in here, man. You win again, you always do.
Yeah, it's got a lot of characters. But where the movie does shine is the moments like in the afterlife, when they go to the office and everything, and everyone always remembers the shrunken head guy.
Yes.
The guy gets run over, and those are those little Tim Burton moments where you start to see his genius that you would see later in other films. Just those little things that make it his movie.
The girl that was cut in half, that's sitting on the couch next to the shrunken head guy, those legs were actually Tim Burton's girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
and Michael Keaton's on there filling them up.
Right.
They're like, and Tim Burton's just watching him do it. I thought it was pretty hilarious.
I've forgotten how lewd the character Beetlejuice was.
Yeah,
they dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah, and it was one of the very few movies
that
that
was
had PG
pretty
with F-bomb.
perverted.
Yeah.
Whorehouse. Did you watch the movie?
Yes. Yeah. The little, little whorehouse that
whorehouse
he sees
was created by the old lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
I created the whorehouse.
Yeah.
I talk out of the hole in my neck.
Yeah.
Don't call Beetlejuice.
Yeah. I give it a B.
A B for Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Well, the movie, though, was a massive success at the box office in 1988. It made like $80 million just in America, which is a lot.
Budget?
That's a lot.
$8 million?
It was about $8 million with just $1 million for special effects. Yeah.
Wow.
And they planned a sequel for a long time. It never got made. It was going to be called Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii. It did have an animated series based on it, which ran a couple of seasons, and there were a lot of toys made on the movie.
I have some.
But Burton was never interested in the sequel because, let's face it, Warner Brothers paid him a ton of money to make Batman Returns. And I don't think it was so much he was not interested. He's just like, Warner Brothers paid me a lot of money to make Batman. Why do I want to go make Beetlejuice?
He was too busy with Batman.
Because that took up the next 4 years of his life.
Is that still in development, though?
They are still holding the IMDb page.
And they apparently have a script.
Well, you know what the script is? The family, Winona Ryder's family, they go and they buy an island, and there's a lot of German Americans there, and there's some like old Hawaiian ghosts that are there, and they need Beetlejuice to scare them away. And so they wanted to include him surfing They wanted him to be like a surfer dude this time, and that was going to be the story.
Well, thank God it's being rewritten then.
Right.
Yeah.
Based on that.
And if they can get everybody together, because Michael Keaton in the past several years has said many times he's lost interest in it.
Yeah.
But money talks. If they pay him enough, maybe he'll do it. He said at one time he was all for it, but he's now lost interest. He's moved on to
He's the Vulture,
Spider-Man
man.
and movies like Birdman. He's re-resurrected his career with some of the roles he's done. And, and what does Michael Keaton gain by doing a sequel to this, really?
What's
Money.
more likely?
Yeah, money, that'd be it.
Old Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond movie, or Beetlejuice 2 as surfing Beetlejuice?
I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Kingdom Come movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think old Bruce Wayne's more likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's not a terrible film. I think if you put yourself in the place of 1988 and what Tim Burton had to work with, and the cast and everything, I would agree along. You'd probably about a B. Someone that's watched it today that had no idea or any inside knowledge of information, they might think it's a C, maybe a D.
It's an original movie,
right? But it's got some cool ideas. Really worked. There's some genuinely horrifying things in it, like the sandworms, and when he turns into a snake. There's some creepy stuff in it.
The room of lost souls.
Yeah, and then there's heads dismemberments and things like that, and so as a ghost story, it's kind of quirky and kind of different. It's not overly scary, so you can watch it with the kids or whatever.
Yeah,
it's kind of more silly than it is scary. There's nothing really ultra violent in it. Beetlejuice is a bit of a like you said, vulgar character, but even he's not so bad that most of the stuff he says flies by so quick. If you're watching with kids, they're not even going to notice it.
No,
And what the funny thing is that the studio joked about, or Tim Burton joked about calling the movie "Scared Sheetless," and the studio almost bought into it. He
That's
was like,
hilarious.
And it freaked Burton out. He's like, "No, I wasn't really being serious."
Just kidding.
Yeah.
And they thought that was a funny, humorous idea to call it that.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Smashing Pumpkins. They're like, "Oh, we're just going to name ourselves Smashing Pumpkins for this one event," and then they couldn't change it. Like, no, you can't change your name. What?
But I don't know. Maybe they'll. This movie I think is definitely a product of the '80s, and I think it is a good early project of Tim Burton's, and it gives you a look into the Tim Burton we were going to eventually get through even his Alt Deco designs with his Batman films and some of the quirkiness in those with Nicholson's Joker. He wanted Nicholson to play Beetlejuice. Actually, he was one of the actors that read for the role, but he turned it down. And then he went on to make Edward Scissorhands and the other. And we all know what Burton's done since. He's done a lot of just off the wall, kind of quirky films.
Mars Attacks.
Yeah, Mars Attacks, which most Tim Burton films, I find them to be very much like the Coen brothers. You either like that movie or you don't like it, but you respect him as a director. You respect the Coen brothers. And that's how I feel with Tim Burton. He's got films I really like Big Fish and his Batman, but then he's got some movies I don't like as much. I'm not a huge fan of his Sweeney Todd and some of those he did.
Sweeney Todd.
I didn't like his Alice in Wonderland live action. I didn't care for that.
How was Sleepy Hollow?
Sleepy Hollow is actually pretty good.
That's one of the
really
scariest.
like Sleepy
I think
Hollow.
it's the scariest movie.
Yeah.
Huh?
I thought Sleepy Hollow was pretty well done.
Oh yeah,
It's a
man.
well-made gothic horror movie.
Yeah.
Walken.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's got Walken in it.
Yeah.
And that project kind of came together because of Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Him working with Christopher Walken in that, and he had the Sleepy Hollow script. He didn't get made till 2001, 2002.
Oh, it has Christopher Lee in there
Several
too.
years later, was Christopher Lee in?
Yeah.
That's right. He is in Sleepy Hollow.
He's like a judge or something.
Yeah.
And the way he says Ichabod Crane.
Yeah.
So that Christopher Lee voice is freaking epic. Such a good voice actor. I wish we would have had more of him doing voice acting.
Yeah. What's funny, another interesting about Beetlejuice is that what is that?
That's the ending
Oh,
song.
yeah.
Yeah. Whenever she.
And of course, people always talk about the dinner scene in this movie. We didn't even talk about that. It's become an iconic scene. What's funny is I've always hated that song because of this movie.
Yes.
But yet, it's the iconic scene in the movie. The Day-O, but I also it's one of the songs you've heard so many times since 1988, I hate it. But it's also iconic in the film.
I can never hate that song.
And the actors, it was actually Catherine O'Hara's idea to use something more calypso, as she called it, like that.
Calypso.
Yeah,
Calypso.
because because that wasn't the original song they were going to use, and they said that Tim Burton didn't really like the scene either. He wasn't a big fan of the way it came together, even though the actors had a good time filming it. But then when test audiences really liked it, Burton was like, well, I guess it worked. But I imagine watching just
Because it's so out of left field, that whole scene.
I imagine Burton, because just from what I've seen in interviews, that I'm not sure how much he really laughs in real life anyway. So I can see he's kind of hard to please him. He's kind of a dark guy, he's a little bit kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And, but so, but it became an iconic scene. It is a very memorable scene from this movie. And people always remember that when they talk Beetlejuice. Oh, yeah, I remember the dinner party scene. So it is a very popular scene from the film. But overall, though, I think Beetlejuice is a fun little movie for an afternoon. It's funny, Disney actually bought the rights to the movie years later to air on TV, and they had to edit it quite a bit to air on the Disney Channel. Like, they couldn't have Beetlejuice grabbing his crotch or the mentions of the whorehouse.
Yep.
So they used audio dubbing and things to change some stuff in the film. And there was some cut footage from the film, I guess, so they used some of that to splice in and change it up for the Disney Channel release a little bit.
Yeah.
Because,
the voice actor for the cartoon sounds just like Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Does he?
He did a really good job.
I remember watching that all the time. It was always the sandworm that they had to watch out for.
I was curious because, whenever we do these movies, and I like to see what, collectibles, some of the Beetlejuice figures are actually worth good amounts of money now.
Really?
Because there was a very limited line that had a limited audience. And so they kind of, came out at a time whenever, He-Man and Transformers toys were still on the shelf and stuff, and these kind of toys got ignored. You didn't have the hardcore collectors like you have now who are buying everything up. Mm-hmm. So Beetlejuice toys kind of sat there and they got thrown in dollar bins, and now people are looking for them, and they've gone up in value. Just like early Jurassic Park toys are worth a lot of money now. Because no one, as popular as Jurassic Park was, no one bought the toys in 1993 because nobody wanted to play with dinosaur toys. Now everybody wants the little Jurassic Park toys that are worth a lot of money. And Beetlejuice falls in that kind of vein. Like, oh, nobody wanted them, but now people want their childhood.
There's a lot of McDonald's and Burger King release toys. Little ones.
They had them, But overall, though, I mean, it's we'll see. Maybe a sequel gets made. Maybe it doesn't, Yeah. But it's a good little Saturday afternoon movie to watch if you're bored. And it doesn't hold up great, but it's not unwatchable either. I think it's a fun little movie.
I agree.
And if you're a Tim Burton fan and you've never seen it, you should see it. And as a Michael Keaton fan, you should watch it. Just for his 17 minutes of performance, because he really is the gem of the movie.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, any final thoughts on Beetlejuice, which was going to be called Beetlejuice and spelt like Beetlegeist, but they felt that it was a bit confusing to the consumer, and Beetlejuice sounded funnier and was more marketable. So,
no, it was off the wall, weird. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like it since. But I think rewatching it, I liked it, but didn't love it like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The nostalgia goggles fooled me this time.
Nostalgia goggles.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. So, are we ready to get into some news?
I'm ready.
Yeah. What news is there?
Man, I've got some news. I've got some news. The Oscars, the nominations came out. Black Panther, 7 nominations, including Best Picture. If there was anything the internet's enraged this week about, it might be that. A lot of people say, oh, it's a comic book movie, it doesn't deserve it. And
it's usually white folks saying that.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. Anybody who thinks that they did this just to appease black media is a fool.
Yeah.
That doesn't make that's racist, and it doesn't even make sense. Honestly, if they had more than 5 movies back in 2008, The Dark Knight would have been nominated. The Dark Knight is what set that standard. That's when they started changing, allowing up to 10 films to be nominated. And it would have been the first combo movie. And I'm all for it. I don't expect it to win, but I think it's good for the genre that we enjoy and that we like. And I do think Black Panther is a very good movie. Personally, Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse was my favorite combo movie last year. I think it's a better movie than this. But I still think Black Panther is
It's
really
a better,
solid,
funner,
good movie.
more entertaining movie, yeah.
Yeah.
But Black Panther touched on pretty important issues.
It's historically important. It's historically important from the aspect of it is a very popular black superhero. It was a huge movie at the box office. It gave us some great characters, and it was well acted across the board. There are times where it's a pretty standard comic book film, especially the action scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But overall, though, man, it's one of the better MCU films and one of the better comic book films we've had ever. You know. And I've recently rewatched it, and I thought it held up really well. I think Black Panther is really good.
Yeah.
It's right now. I think it's the first movie that's ever portrayed black culture in a very advanced, light.
Yeah.
Instead of like your stereotypical urban setting or a crime setting or what was it like? How's black culture usually portrayed in movies anyways?
Yeah, or gangsters, or different ideas of and I like that.
It's always about history or something like that.
And one thing
this is portrayed in a comic book setting.
And one thing I thought was cool about Black Panther,
Star Trek,
I thought was cool about that was like when you go into Wakanda. And they all speak real proper. They talk to each other. You have Eric Killmonger, who was raised on the streets more, and he comes in, he talks a little bit more trash, a little bit more ghetto style. But I like the way that played off of each other. It showed the different cultures, the way they were all raised, but yet he's also Wakandan. And I thought that he was an amazing villain. I thought he was great.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, Marvel fell into the trap of always killing their villains in their movies.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn, you have to kill a villain every film, and they did that in this one, too.
Yeah.
Of course, that could all change with Endgame, with the snap, and wherever they do, they could end up bringing him back.
Yeah.
But that was probably my only disappointment with the end of it. But at the same time, you understood why he died, when he's looking off in the sunset. He was done, But I think it's deserving, and maybe it'll win a couple. I don't think it'll win Best Picture, but you never know. Stranger things happen. Mad Max was nominated for like 10 awards a couple years ago, and it won like 8, except for like Best Picture. Mad Max actually had a really good year at the Oscars that year. So, I think things are changing. It's funny because people complain that the Oscars are boring and no one watches them anymore.
It's pretty long.
So, now they're trying to do things like this. They're trying to get genre films nominated to get people to watch, and then people still complain. Like, oh, that movie doesn't deserve it. Well, you're not going to be happy, people. So, hey, I'm all for it, and we'll see how it does. Yeah. And speaking of Oscars, Bryan Singer, of course, directed he directed Bohemian Rhapsody, and he's still attached to direct Red Sonja, which is, of course, the spinoff from Conan. Mm-hmm. And he's, the studio's taken some backlash lately with him because, they fired him at the end of Bohemian Rhapsody, so he finished post-production. 20th Century Fox took some flack for hiring him in the first place to do it because the accusations have been on him for a while now that he's a creep, or whatever. Yeah. I enjoyed Bohemian Rhapsody immensely because I still can enjoy a film even if I don't agree with the director.
Wait a minute. I thought he only did part of the main production and then they brought someone else to
Well, yeah, but it was only like a few weeks left of shooting.
Really?
That's why he still got a director's credit. Yeah. It wasn't quite like the Ron Howard situation where he reshot most of the film. Yeah, it was Bohemian Rhapsody was almost done whenever they fired him. And he's being accused of some wrongdoings and things like that. But
that's an understatement.
Oh yeah. Well, no, but you got to separate yourself from enjoying the film and the guy being the creep, and it is a little different with the director because you don't see him on screen. Like when you see Kevin Spacey on screen now, it's a little weird. You start thinking like creepy things about Kevin Spacey, and I guess with the director you don't see him. So it didn't keep me from enjoying Bohemian Rhapsody. I enjoyed the movie immensely. It was one of my favorite movies I saw last year, and so the studio's getting some flack because they are ignoring the fact that he directed the film as they go about their accolades. They won some Golden Globes. Rami Malek, who's excellent as Freddie Mercury, won. And so studios be taking some flack because they haven't released a statement. Honestly, I don't know how not that the movie deserves awards, but they made a really good product. So the producers, maybe they could have fired Singer and taken care of it sooner. But at the same time, is it right of them to just completely ignore it and still get their accolades, or should they at least maybe acknowledge it and release a statement like, because they made a good film and they made a lot of money at the box office, and there are people that worked on the film that honestly are good people, so it's not fair to them to not be able to enjoy the accolades and awards just because Bryan Singer did something wrong. Mm-hmm. So it's been kind of in the news lately, them taking some flack, and
I didn't see the movie.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a big fan of Queen.
Yeah,
and I have a ton. I love a lot of their music, but I just have found out like the reason why I didn't watch it is because they left out a lot of important omissions from the movie, and
Right.
they just glorified everything and made things that didn't happen in the film. So I was like, I don't really feel like watching something that's half
changed
true.
some things, but it's really good though. It is worth
I'm
watching.
sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So and in Rami Malek is a front runner along with Bradley Cooper to win Best Actor. So, but I'm, you can't blame Malek. It's not his fault. The singer's a creep. He put on a good performance. So I look at it, I can see why people are upset, but I also look at it as like, these people didn't do anything wrong. Let them enjoy their accolades as the movie wins awards and things like that. And maybe the studio should release a statement. And I know the studio fought to have Singer's name taken off as director, but the Directors Guild was like, no, he filmed 75%. You paid him. You have to give him credit for the movie. So they didn't have a lot of choice.
Yeah.
Because it is America. You are innocent until proven guilty. And even though we all know Bryan Singer's a creep, he hasn't been tried yet. So it's,
Yeah.
and that's, whether you like it or not, that's the system.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, There's some more talk lately about RoboCop Returns.
Oh.
RoboCop Returns.
Is it a reboot?
Neil Blomkamp is directing it. It's a direct sequel to RoboCop 2, to RoboCop 1. And the original writers, Ed Niemeyer and the other guy, they're using a script. They had a script for RoboCop 2 back in 1988. And it wasn't used because of the writer's strike. Oh. And so that's why RoboCop 2 got made the version that we know. And their
that was
script,
a weird one.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Their script is much more close to the original film, kind of a little bit of satire, very violent. So they're going back and they're using parts of that script, only they're modernize it. Like there could be some augmented reality human beings they set in it and bad guys. And Neil Blomkamp is a visionary. District 9 was really good, and so I arguably liked Elysium. Chappie left a little bit to be desired, but I think Blomkamp is a very good visionary young director, and I think him doing RoboCop Returns is kind of exciting for me. I think he could make a really cool sequel. He wants Peter Weller back really badly.
That would be cool.
Because if anything, bring Weller in to do the voice, even if you can't get him to do the suit, because Weller is getting there. He's like 78 years old.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Weller's getting up there in age. So even if you can't do him in the costume, in the RoboCop outfit, can we get Peter to come do the voice at least?
And consult.
Yeah.
Consult.
This is one of those legacy sequels I'm all for. I like the character RoboCop. I can imagine that we'll do RoboCop on the show one day because it's a really great 80s movie. And so I think the world is ripe for a RoboCop return. And I didn't hate the remake from a couple years ago. I enjoyed it for what it was.
For what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't bother.
Wasn't it PG-13?
It was PG-13.
Yeah, I didn't bother.
But
I didn't bother.
But I didn't hate it. So bring me more RoboCop.
PG-13. Come on.
Resident Evil's coming to Netflix as a TV series.
I saw that.
Animated or live action?
Apparently live action. This is probably a good idea. There's a lot of stories to be told in that universe of video games. Arguably, we talked on the show before about how video game movies aren't very well done or very successful, but arguably the Resident Evil series of movies has been pretty successful.
Yeah.
They made a lot of money, even if you don't like them.
Even they were not consistent with the storyline.
Yeah.
But, it looked like they started off strong, and then Apocalypse looked really good, but if they
I remember watching the first one, thought it was okay. Thought the second one was a turd. Then the third one, where it was in the sand, it was like I didn't even know what was going on anymore. So I was like, okay, I'm done.
And then they added psychic powers. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, but this seems to be the direction a lot of things are going, man. To short form TV, scripted television, going to streaming services, and it could work for something like Resident Evil. It's a horror story, and it could work as a scripted TV series. And
speaking of
just the
Resident
angles.
Evil, y'all heard that the HD remake
Part 2 was
came
out today.
last night.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
this morning.
Yeah,
I think it's like $60.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's
worth
not,
it.
I wouldn't pay $64. I'd wait till it goes down in price.
It's a top-down remake.
Yeah,
Because, in the original Resident Evil 2, it was, CGI backgrounds, like they're
Right.
all drawn backgrounds, and
Yeah.
it's not full 3D, it's 2D backgrounds and tank controls. And
Yeah.
This one has, the Resident Evil 2 has been getting like high marks, like 9s and 8s.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But,
That's good.
But anytime it's a remaster remake, though, they end up going down in price so quick.
Yeah.
A lot of those, because it's like, you'd be patient. Don't
I
be
never
impulsive,
played the
Matt, and spend
second one.
$60
I know,
or
right?
something.
Yeah.
That will go. I was never a huge fan of the series. I played the GameCube remake of Resident Evil, and I thought that was okay.
Resident Evil 4, I played to death, though.
Oh yeah.
I've got one of them on my 360. I think 5 on my 360.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that one.
But yeah, I was never a huge fan of that series, but it's okay, But if a show comes to Netflix and it's well done, I'll give it a chance probably, and we'll see. Another popular comic book movie or comic book adaptation, The Umbrella Academy, released a trailer this week. I don't know a lot about this except for it was a very popular comic book series, and it's coming to Netflix like February 15th.
I never heard of it.
Yeah,
heard of it.
So that's all we got then. Look for The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. And last bit of news, Kevin Smith finally got he must have had it already, but he announced at Sundance this morning that he got financing through Saban. Is it Saban? Is that how you say it?
Yep, Saban
Entertainment to film Jay and Silent Bob reboot. They start production at the end of February. They start filming the sequel or the reboot to Jay and Silent Bob, and arguably his two most popular characters he's ever made. And it's funny because he had been trying for years. He wanted to make a Clerks 3, but one of the guys in the Clerks didn't want to do it, so he scrapped it. So he tried to do a Mallrats TV series. So he tried to sell Netflix, and it didn't work. So he was going to do a Mallrats sequel.
What's a mall?
So
Amazon, though.
Amazon.
And he was going to do a Mallrats sequel, but then he turned out he didn't own Mallrats. He went to Universal, and they were like, "No, you don't own it." So he's like, "Well, what do I own?" He goes, "Oh, I own Jay and Silent Bob." So he's going to do a sequel to that, and I'm all for it. I love Kevin Smith's films. Which,
I wish he'd do something new, though.
Yeah. I mean, he did. He did Red State and
Walrus.
Tusk and Yoga Hosers.
But
So he has tried
did
some
those
new-
movies because he just doesn't give a crap anymore.
Oh yeah, if you read his autobiography, he pretty much tells you that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's like-
I'm able to make movies now that I want to make.
yeah.
But I'm all for it. Which ironically leads into next week's film that we're doing.
Yeah.
Because it is the 25th anniversary of Clerks. And so next week we're going to cover Clerks on the show.
Salsa shark. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Throughout history, they have been a part of our American life. Men and women who have made it their mission to serve their fellow man. They've worked hard enough. Isn't it time they had their own movie? Clerks.
This job would be great if it wasn't for the customers.
I don't bother them and they don't bother me.
I could do without the people in the video store.
Do you have that one with that guy who was in that movie that was out last year?
You should hear the barrage of stupid questions I get.
What do you mean there's no ice? You mean I gotta drink this coffee hot?
You'd feel a hell of a lot better if you just rip into the occasional customer.
You're a clerk, paid to do a job. You can't just do anything you want while you're working.
Hey, you open? No!
What kind of convenience store do you run here?
Miramax Films presents
You think anybody can see us down here?
Why? Do you want to have sex or something?
Can we?
Clerks. Just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you.
You hate people.
But I love gatherings. Isn't it ironic?
Featuring new music by Soul Asylum, Corrosion of Conformity, Bad Religion, The Jesus Lizard, and music by Alice in Chains.
And Clerks is a movie that for me, as it came out in '94, I was in high school, and I remember maybe seeing it summer of '95 because it was one of those films that played film festivals, and it kind of rolled out into theaters over the next couple of years, and you heard about it from your friends and everything, and it was a film that kind of changed the way I looked at movies for the first time in a while since probably Star Wars, or even '89 Batman. I was like, here was a movie that spoke to me in a different way. This was a movie about people like me that are the same age that talk to their friends and talk vulgar and things like that. Man, wow, they like Star Wars and comic books too. Hey, these guys are like me, and the rest is history. I went on to be a huge Kevin Smith fan. I podcast because of Kevin Smith in a lot of ways. He really is the reason why I enjoy podcasting. I listen to his show every week, just about. I listen to Fat Man Beyond. I like that's his favorite podcast is.
He doesn't hate any movie on there.
No. Every now and then
Batman Beyond.
he does every now and then. He doesn't like something.
He
But
loves
you're right.
everything
he
he
likes
watches, apparently.
Yeah,
You know?
but I didn't realize. I knew it was the 25th anniversary this year. I knew I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't realize it was now. So, like, you know what? Let's go ahead and knock it out and talk Clerks, and so it should be a fun talk. Any preview you guys got of it? Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen Clerks, but I remember
It curses a lot. Warn your wife.
Yeah, and I remember the black and whiteness of it, and
Well, yeah, because he shot it all with. He maxed out credit cards.
I remember that.
Sold his comic book collection.
Yeah, so
I
it's gonna be
relate
fun
to it.
watching it again.
Yeah,
Being in retail for
Yeah.
15 plus years.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it's arguably still his best film in some ways. Even it's a passion project. You know, some people might argue Chasing Amy is his
Chasing
best
Amy.
film.
Yeah.
But it should be fun to watch. It's been a while. As big as a Kevin Smith fan as I am, it's been a while since I've watched it too. So I'm going to look forward to watching it and checking it out and talking some Clerks and Kevin Smith next week on the show. It should be fun.
yeah.
It should be
there's
real.
a lot to talk about there.
It should be really real.
Yeah.
Real.
Anything I left out? You know, I found some news, man. Even in a short week, y'all were like shocked, man. Mark had things to talk about.
Hey, man, you dug for that.
Yeah, I was digging earlier today for stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
You know, as far as pop culture stuff that's going on, but
we should have some stuff coming up this week. We got Super Bowl coming. There will be some Super Bowl commercials. Some new,
All right,
new trailers.
Sportscast again.
New trailers. That might be the number one reason to record the night after the Super Bowl, so we can talk Super Bowl commercials and new trailers.
The Star Wars fandom is like on suicide watch right now for some kind of teaser.
They're not going to do it. Why spend? If you're Disney, why spend? Whoa, I'm going to knock the mic down here. Why spend $3 million on something that's a guaranteed product?
On what network it's on?
On
NFL. Fox?
no, it's not. It's on CBS this year.
Oh yeah, so they're not going to spend money on.
And you're not going to
CBS.
spend money on a guarantee. If they do buy commercials, it's going to be for Disney's always done this. They're going to buy commercials for their next two most recent films. They'll buy a commercial for Captain Marvel and Dumbo. Watch the next two movies they have coming
I
out.
expect another Godzilla teaser.
See, I can see Legendary buying a trailer, but yeah, I don't expect Star Wars. I think J.J. Abrams is going to make us wait till Star Wars Celebration in April.
That's fair.
You know.
Fair
Yeah,
point.
I think The Last Jedi killed a lot of goodwill.
And I think that's why he's been quiet lately. I think
Yeah.
J.J. knows. Let's just keep things quiet, and then when we put that trailer out, bam, they'll all forgive us. They'll be ready to go. Because I think that they're sitting around, they're going to cut this trailer where it's just going to blow people's minds. I think they know that J.J. is smart. He knows he's got to come out strong, and he'll be ready to roll. So we'll see what happens as we move forward.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
that's it. That's all I got.
Change your air filter, Mark.
Bastards.
No.
Funny.
That's going to be a
Full
running
circle.
joke now on the fucking show. Air filters and
Every
shit.
time someone coughs or farts,
Yeah.
which is a butt cough.
But as always, go to the rebelradiopodcast.com, and that's where you can find our shows. We're on all apps: Google,
Yes.
Google Play, Stitcher,
Spotify,
Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Why are you repeating me, bitch?
I don't know. I felt like we were in sync for a second.
We're not a boy band. Yeah, we could be a boy band. We're all getting too old. Stop!
To you. Jeez.
Slap your mama. Could slap you.
I'm pretty good at that.
But and follow us on Twitter at Rebel Radio Pod, Facebook at the Rebel Radio Podcast, and Instagram at the Rebel Radio Podcast.
Yes.
And go to the rebelradiopodcast.com and buy a T-shirt or something, or I'm going to slap Matt.
Or a mug. He will slap me on TV.
And I promise I will put up some new designs sometime this year.
Yes.
Which is, I'm saying that now because it's only January, so I can say sometime this year I have plenty of time. Put up some new shirt designs on there.
Sometime this year. Could
But
be in the next 10 months.
But as always, thank you for listening. We do appreciate all the support and checking out the show, and from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes.
And happy birthday to the evil Dr. Tran Long.
Yes.
Thank you.
Happy 40th.
Big 40.
And welcome to the club, my friend.
Thank you.
I've been there a couple of years now, so
Yeah.
it hurts. That's all I can say.
He didn't even have to buy a membership.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mark. I guess you're telling me that you are a warning for us all.
A warning for us all.
Yeah. No.
But pretty much. So anyway, that's it. Have a good one. Thank you as always for listening. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Long.
And as always, just go there and do it.
Ta-ta.
Hey, you're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast. My name is Sean Patrick Flannery, and I hope you dig the podcast.
This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Man. I love Houston. I love podcasting. But what I really love is the Rebel Radio Podcast.